listening to It's All Good, Magic, Mysticism, and Earth Medicine. Check us out by visiting www.magicandmedicine.blogspot.com. I'm your host, Dr. Candace Nadine Green.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to, whoops, hang on, I'm having some issues here with sound. I hope this is the right one. Okay, so hello, and welcome to finally episode 100 of Magic and Medicine. We've been doing a lot of stuff lately, working on a new website, because the one that we have currently is kind of sloppy and confusing. So this one should be a lot... I don't know. I'm having some issues with my background music. So anyway, to continue. So yeah, we've been working on a new website so that it will be nicer and easier to manage, because it is kind of sloppy, and if you have to get away from the old, what do you call it? The old goodness. The old way, the old system that I've been using for such a long time, and it just makes sense to have something better. So I'm excited. It's almost done, and when it's done, then I will put it on the show, and it'll have all the same information, just easier and a lot better to navigate. So it's going to be great, and I'm excited. This show has taken quite a few transformations, and I don't know, part of that I think, because my life has been a little bit busy, and it's not like the time when I had my really good podcast, Candidly Candace, which was on Blog Talk Radio. That was an amazing show. And but that show, it sort of got away. I don't really do those things anymore like I did on that show, women's issues, and being a spokesperson for, especially for women who've been in domestic violence situations and been abused and things like that. So I've sort of gotten away from that, and I focus more on this mystic life that I've immersed myself in completely this time, instead of just half-heartedly. And it's something that resonates with me very well, and that's why I do what I do. And also, I've been busy with clients and writing and a lot of stuff. So this is the greatness of being self-employed. So last time we talked a little bit about African medicine, health, and nutrition. And yes, I've focused a lot on African mysticism, medicine lately, because that's what's important to me. That's what I am. That's what I know, and it resonates with me. It's just like when I did paintings. I'm a brown skinned woman, West African American woman, and I would paint. I realized when I would paint Caucasian paintings, they didn't resonate with me. I had no feeling in them. They were beautiful, but I didn't represent myself. That doesn't say that you have to do that, but I wanted to look at the beauty of my people and talk about my people and portray my people to the world in a more positive outlook, which is why I started to do it. And it just meant so much. There's so many aspects, so many levels, and it's beautiful. So I find that if you're uncomfortable listening to my podcast because it focuses on this and it has changed and evolved, as so have I, then you're welcome to not listen. But I do welcome you here, and thank you for listening. And I want to talk about medicine, health and nutrition, earth medicine, and just health and nutrition in general. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not that kind of doctor. So I'm not going a medical doctor, so I'm not going to get all excited over health. But I will talk about things that we can do something about. We know that our bodies are sacred, and as I mentioned in a previous episode, the African diaspora descendants are not biochemically able to handle much of the food we eat today. And I'm realizing that with my own body, because I start to feel sick after consuming meat that is really rich, stuff that's really rich, and it makes me feel sick. And it became more pronounced as I became more aware and more involved in my own spiritual path, my own spiritual journey. I've had many, many levels, many different levels of my journey, many different stopping points. And the deeper I've gotten, the more my body became to change. I would get sick, discomforting feeling too full. And my body had problems processing food that I'm not biochemically able to do. And I felt that there were toxins that are hanging around in my body. I could actually feel heavy. I could feel them. And after reading this book that's really life-changing, it's called, the one that I've been doing a lot of research from, it's called African Medicine, A Complete Guide to Yoruba Healing Science and African Herbal Remedies. It's the all-new second edition. It's by Taqiq M. Sawandi, Dr. Taqiq M. Sawandi. Now I want to share it with you and my fellow people of African descent. So, the human body is related to and connected with the divine powers of creation. Remember, we're connected. We're not separate. We don't look at the people of India, when the yogis, they say namaste, which means I salute the God within you. And that gives... I'm not thinking right today at all. It gives, it honors that the idea, the notion, the reality that we are not separate from the divine. The divine resides within us. That we are divine. Divine is within us. And as such, it needs to be respected. To the ancient Africans, health represented the most direct path to spiritual, mental, and physical attunement. It involved the mental as well as the spiritual. The earliest inhabitants of Africa were skilled hunters and gatherers. Long before other ancient civilizations, the Africans planted seeds, they worshiped God, and fashioned shapely tools from iron. The divine beauty they perceived, they expressed in masks, painting, pottery, wood carvings, and gold figurines. Their art and religion permeated and reflected every aspect of life. And it's so beautiful, the African masks, the African dolls. And the more because I am an artist and artisan as well as an author, the more I work with my hands. I have always had these tiny hands that were a little wrinkly. And I remember when I was working in college, I worked 2 jobs and went to school full time because I just had myself to depend upon and no one was helping me. One of my jobs was I was a cashier back then it was called Edwards and then it closed. But I worked there, and I remember bagging. I remember because I worked so fast. I was such a fast cashier that I could bag too. At the same time, I just do it and help my bag a bag. And one of my baggers said, "Oh, you have mad wrinkles on your hands," and that hurt my feelings. And I was only 19. And after then, I would sit on my hands a lot and I would keep my hands below the table. I didn't find my hands beautiful, but the work that they produced, it didn't take me until, I don't know, well after I met my husband, that I realized that my hands are creative hands and they create beautiful things and they're not ugly. And they're small because they help make things like gardening and my artisan work. I love creating. And so that's what I do. It brings me, I could spend hours doing it, but I know I can't because I have children, a family, but it produces so much beauty. When I look at who I am, where I come from, my roots and my ancestors, it's beautiful. And I reflect that, try to reflect that beauty and in the art and the writings and everything that I create, even myself that I create. The African concept of reality was cyclical, meaning that everything has its cycles, including human life. An important aspect of these beliefs is the unity of all things in the form of one. The one is known by many names: Oludumare, Aman, Osa, Ta, Neter, Allah, God, Yahweh, etc. Basically, it says nothing exists without this hidden, mysterious power we all call God. A spark, like I said before, a spark of the one exists, of the divine exists in all things because it is that which gives it being. Africans see themselves as part of nature, not separate from it, nor could they separate themselves from it. Nature, therefore, could be utilized in man's behalf if you know how to work with its laws. If you abuse them, they could destroy you. That's that idea that we're on this journey towards ultimate oneness. We are not separate from our surroundings. I was telling a client that yesterday. I actually had a client yesterday. I don't usually take clients on Sunday, but this was a special circumstance, and it was a video Zoom. And I told this client that this normal reality that we see with our eyes here in the physical material world is just an illusion. We are all particles. You know, the pencil that you have is part of it, is made from a tree. It has living things within it, living atoms and molecules that vibrate at a certain speed level to create the illusion of this pencil. And we, in turn, we also are consisted of particles and molecules, and break them down to where just these small things that give an illusion of a physical form because of the rate of the vibration. And when you come in contact with another person, that's why you can sometimes feel like some energy from another person, because your particles are interacting with their particles. I learned this some years ago. It was an eye-opener. I learned it from Swami Yogatamata. He's a Swami here at a center that I'd attend because I loved his talks, and he talked about the illusion of the physical. And I mean, it's a metaphysical concept. We think it's just a metaphysical concept when in fact a lot of the ancient cultures have talked about this very same thing. We need to get back to that understanding. There's a lot of wisdom to be had. Now, Africans, no, I already said it. That was, my notes are just a mess. Today more than ever, Blacks, African Americans, they must embrace and utilize their own African tradition of diet and lifestyle. We've gotten so far away from it that we're not able to go back, that we think we're not able to go back, and that it seems foreign to us, and it's often rejected, which is very sad, because blood is blood. You have that African blood in you. You can't get rid of it, no matter what you do. And there is much comfort in the wisdom of the ancients, of the older people, of our ancestors. Now, across North America, Black Americans are destroying their bodies, destroying the inside and out with poor quality foods, unconscious indulgence, and emotional dietary habits. We think that we have to eat certain things. I had a late uncle who, and I used to, when I was a kid, we visited them in Alabama, and he used to keep the fat on the chicken, and it was gross. It was just gross. And they said, "Oh, all them people don't know anything." And I said, "This is just disgusting, and it's unhealthy, and it clogs your arteries, and it just creates fat around the heart. And then you're not able to process it. You're not able to process it, and that stuff, it builds up in you, and it creates toxins." I don't know, society. I have to do some research on finding out where this idea came from, that we have to eat, that Black people eat that kind of stuff, because it's not what we're biochemically made to do. That actually kills us, and it gives us shorter lifespans, and it's not the way that we should go. the distinctive foods of the Black community. The soul food. Ham, ham is not so bad. You don't eat it every day. Potato salad, French fries, pork chops, chitlins. Chitlins. Let me tell you, I never liked chitlins. I had them like once, and was forced to eat them again as a kid with hot sauce, and I didn't like them. I never liked the smell, and it's just not healthy. But I know some Black people who swear that they love chitlins and they can't do without it. I'm just like, you're killing yourself. You want? It's not because I think I'm all that, and then they say, "Oh, you're white," or this. No, it's not. We are not biochemically designed to digest that food. Do your research, people. Do your research. It's everywhere. There's no excuse. You have internet on your phones. You can go. Well, it's COVID time, but still, if you could go to the library, you can go to the library and use a computer, whatever. It's not. It's common knowledge. It's common knowledge. And do some research. It's your DNA. Do some research and find out, and you'll find out that that's not. That's a fake culture root. Okay, people who want to think that that's part of their cultural roots. No, that's fake. That's what someone told you so that they could kill you off quickly. Get rid of you, make your life short. They make your lives short, thinking that that's what you eat. No, we're not biochemically made for that. That's not what our people ate. Okay, none of that stuff. Not pig feet, and collard greens with like I make collard greens, but not the way my folks used to make them. Okay, with the fat back in it. No, no. Okay, and cornbread, black eyed peas. There's nothing wrong with cornbread or black eyed peas. And hog maws. You don't need to be eating that. All of these foods, it's the way you cook them too. All these foods that cooked in or laced with pork fat, lard, milk, eggs, butter, a little too much salt, too spicy, and lots of sugar. Like I had people put sugar in string beans. What? They don't need to be sweet. That's how you diabetes. No. I mean, let's face it. Black people are making a lot of food choices that are cutting their lives short permanently. By eating foods fried in heavy grease and pork and with excessive concentrations of sugar and salt. You're just feasting your way to an early grave. That's what you're doing. I had a friend back in college probably, and even then I knew, lay off the fried food. That's what my people eat. No, it's not. Even I knew that then. No, it's not. That's a lot. You don't have to have fried food 3-4 times a night. Come on. It's just, and you can see it on the outside of the skin. The skin gets all gross, and it's just, and then it makes you uncomfortable, and you're just cutting your life short. It is. We have to get back to the earth. My aunt, one of my aunts, my maternal aunt, she used to have a garden when she was a younger mother, and when the cousins we were around the same age, and she'd had these beautiful garden tomatoes, and I would be back there with her, and she's like, "You want a tomato?" She'd take it right off the plant and give it to me, and I would eat it, and she would eat one too, and they were the most delicious, most healthy tomatoes I had ever had. And because my family were involved in a lot of agriculture, that's what they came from, farming and things like that. From an early age, I was interested in plants and growing plants. I remember a 5th grade project I transplanted. I made a double plant by transplanting 2 different plants together for a project in 5th grade, and that plant lived many, many years. When I went away, it was still there, so I don't know what happened to it. But I tend to have plants for a long time. But then I love gardening, and there's nothing better than growing your own food and herbs, and it's healthy, and you don't have to put a bunch of pesticides in it, because a garden tomato tastes a whole lot different from the tomato from the supermarket that's filled with. Look, what do you think that they put in those those vegetables or the meat or whatever, to make those things go big and fat. Okay. Steroids and all kind of chemicals to make them grow big and fat. And those are going in your body. Just saying. It's something you should think about. And that's how we're killing ourselves too. Doesn't mean don't go to the grocery store or anything like that. But try to grow something on your kitchen counter. They have little things that you can put on your counter and grow. Just be careful. You try to go to farmers markets or the local farms where they have stuff that's not chemically induced. You try to buy from there. Some of them do have great prices because I've been to some, and then it's a whole lot better for you than stuff from the regular chain supermarkets. But again, we're allowing this killer to run loose in the Black community, which is responsible. This killer is responsible for more deaths than drugs and Black on Black crime. It's responsible for the high incidence of hypertension, infant mortality rates, and the slow, miserable death of many of our senior citizens. And this killer is the diet of African Americans. You ever notice that in predominantly Black communities, there are all the bad food chains, all the bad food places? You ever notice that? Like Popeyes, Kentucky Fried Chicken, or some chicken place. Places so that we could get all those high cholesterol, so we can go to those places, consume that food, and get high cholesterol, blood pressure, diabetes, and have a short lifespan. Ever notice that? I have. Also, we for some reason there is this need within us that we have to excessively consume this stuff, and I'm wondering if it stems from slavery, from not having not having that freedom to do and go and eat what we need. I think it's something, post-slavery distress order, something like that is causing us to have that inherent need that we need to excessively consume. And I know that feeling. I've had that feeling where I had feelings where when I left home, when I ran away because I had to, I had the sense of freedom. The sense of freedom. I was just out of high school and I wanted to go to college. My father didn't want me to go to college, and I said, I'm going. But I had this freedom. I was like, I can eat what I want. I don't have to eat that much, and I can blah blah blah. And that's how it felt. That's how it felt. But remember that society, unfortunately, sticks its foot in a lot of things, and it's dictating what is for us instead of us taking back our health, taking back our lives, our culture, and promoting what we know is good for us, and not shaming others or calling them names who are in our own communities who have made the choice to have life, made the choice of living by not consuming the stuff that we are not biochemically designed for, because we know that we can't process it. And honoring our ancestors by cultivating their ways. What did our ancestors do? What did they do? And don't be ashamed of it. It's beautiful. There's a lot of people in the African diaspora who just don't want to have anything to do with their culture. Just ashamed of it because they're misinformed and because they haven't done their research. And that's what it is. That's what it is. Cancer. All right. A lot of us die of cancer. Cancer of the colon cancer, is the most common form of cancer in African Americans. Colon cancer is intricately related to diet, as alcoholism is related to drinking, or lung cancer to smoking. The colon is an essential part of the digestive system. If we are dying because our food is not being properly digested, then we must reconsider the food that we put into our body. It's just one small step. It's not hard. It's not hard. Some people can grow things in their garden boxes in their windows. There's plenty of urban gardens, and if you live in the cities, that people they give them a little plot, a piece of it, and the community garden, you could participate in that, or you can just go support them instead and buy from them. Okay, buy from them. The body is basically designed to heal itself. Yeah, but don't take advantage. Don't take that for granted. It has the body does have the capacity to regenerate over 2 billion new cells every day. And we need that energy. We need that energy to we need that energy, and the energy comes from the foods that we eat. So if your diet is not providing you with the proper nutrients, your body cannot do its job. And that's why we have a lot of problems. We get sick, and we'll continue to get sick until we either change our diet or die. The worst possible food you can put into your body is meat, especially red meat. The human digestive tract is not designed to process meat. I'm not promoting vegetarianism. I still eat chicken, but I don't eat fried. And I have it a little bit, not a whole lot. Okay, so I'm not trying to convince you to become vegetarians or anything like that. I'm just trying to convince you to look at what you're eating. Okay, look at what you're eating. I mean, there's lots of African dishes that have meat in it. All right, so any food, just remember, any food that stays in your body for more than 8 hours is going to cause problems. It takes meat an average of 90 hours to get digested. And during that time, the undigested pieces will remain in the colon and rot, sending toxins into the body, which slowly kills you. So the soul food that we're so proud of is our worst enemy. The food causes bloated stomachs, varicose veins, swollen ankles, high blood pressure, heart disease, and a number of other related illnesses. Now, I'm not making this up. I researched this information, so I'm not making it up. Okay? And I mean, even though it has never been, they have never, in the our ancestors, okay, the meats have never played a leading role in the diets of our traditional Africans. Rural Africans consume small amounts of animal protein. Okay, so today, the rural West African today has their diet mainly consists of cereals, green vegetables, peas, beans, and the curds and whey of cow's milk. For bulk, people eat cassava. I love cassava. Cassava, yams, and sweet potatoes. So look, you can still eat that stuff. And that stuff's actually really good for you. It has a lot of nutrients. Again, it is also how you prepare it. If you're going to fry that sweet potato, and yes, there are fried sweet potatoes, you can put it in some coating and fry it. That's not exactly good for you. So today's rural Africa does not suffer from most chronic diseases, which are on the increase in the American Black community and are ever-present plague in modern society in general. So I started to eat more of what my ancestors have eating, because that is my biochemical makeup. I mean, I used to eat cassava years ago when I had some Liberian friends who made some great food, and I learned how to do the stuff like that. And I learned a lot about different things that also are part of my culture as well, my tribes and my African ancestry. And so I start to eat those things. And if you don't have these kind of places around you, you can't get to them, let me tell you, you can go online. I've ordered cassava, I've ordered fufu online. I'm not kidding. You can even try it even on Amazon. I remember I got a box of fufu to make some fufu, and it's the kind that I had like years ago when I used to eat it, the plantain one, because that's my favorite one, on Amazon. But you don't have to go there. There's other African stores. But again, the people that they use on there would be the African markets. The African markets would sell their stuff on Amazon. So when you click it on Amazon, you can look who the seller is, because I have. And I feel better a lot. My body feels so much better. And I know why my body is reacting to certain foods that are not good for me. You know, one man's food is another man's poison. What may be good for certain folks from part of the world may not be good from folks from another part of the world. You can't get away from your biochemical makeup. You can change the exterior all you want, and you can fill it with junk, and eventually your body will break down and you will not live a long time, as long as you could live. You know, like, for instance, so what may be good for someone else may not be good for us. Example, Eskimos and whale blubber. I'm not an Eskimo. My biochemical makeup is not the same as an Eskimo. They had to eat whale blubber for warmth and survival. So it's not good for the people. For me, being of West African descent, so I could not eat that. That would just kill me. I can guarantee you it will, because my body is so sensitive anyway. So we should remember that our principal food is whole grains, okay? And I don't need to go into that and keep saying it over and over again. You know, the culture from which our ancestors came had much to offer, not only to its people then, but to us now. And there's a wealth of information available, and we're not taking advantage of it. Okay, so, you know, like nuts, particularly peanuts, those, if you don't have nut allergies, they supply valuable fat, protein, and vitamins often missing in the African diet. Likewise, you know, frying and vegetables oil supplied most of the little fat received from any source. The main portion of the African diet came from whole grains, fruits, and vegetables, which is seen today as the hallmark of a healthy diet. You don't have to be extreme, but you just have to be conscious. In West Africa, we find that natives, the living there, live healthier lives for the most part. The food in this part of the region is millet, beans, green vegetables, wild root, palm oil, fish, and small fowl. Palm oil is the usual cooking fat, but peanut oil, shea oil, and occasionally coconut oil were used in different regions. I use palm oil because I love palm oil. And that's how I was introduced to the African cuisine, was with palm oil, and I fell in love with it, and I love it. So we must understand the ways in which our bodies require different foods, genetically and nutritionally. like other people. People of African descent need information that takes into account our special health problems, unique dietary needs, and biochemical predisposition. We'd be lost. We'd be a lot slimmer and healthier if we just ate what's right for us biochemically, and we'd have less health problems. I mean, it's easier said than done, especially when there's fast food, you know, so readily available almost on every corner, especially if you live in a low socioeconomic area, okay, or predominantly Black and brown neighborhoods. And I mean, who has time to cook sometimes, especially when you're working, real meals or a garden? I mean, I do, but as I said, you can support others. Support others. Just go and support others who are out there, who are out there doing stuff, because it's better for you. And here I go, getting on my soapbox, but still in all, it's important. It's important that we honor ourselves and remember our ancestry. So because of our diets, you know, the average person carries 3 to 30 pounds of hardened, impacted feces in the colon that never comes out, even with, you know, enemas and colonies. It's a source of continuous poisoning and many health problems, just like I mentioned, colon cancer. Now, there's something that I also use. It's called psyllium husks or powder. I use the certified organic one. It's tasteless. You can put it in your juice or water. It's a temporary solution to clean yourself out. I found that a teaspoon was too much, so I put a half a teaspoon in my coffee in the morning, and I stir it, and I drink it right away. I drink it in my iced coffee because I love iced coffee. But it's an excellent source of fiber, and I found, a couple of times I said, I'm going to see what my body does when I don't take it. And it was bad. I felt so uncomfortable. My body was not digesting stuff. But with this, I feel very good, actually. I take it every day. As a part of I urge people who are trying to clean out their bodies to, use it. Use it as an everyday maintenance. And you know that the psyllium expands to 10 times its volume in your colon, for real. Now, I never feel it, okay? I'm not walking around feeling bloated. So I'm just telling you that. It makes it an excellent intestinal broom, which prevents toxic buildup in the colon and ensures regular bowel movements. So that's important. I think it is. So again, we need to get back into nature. That's what we need. We need to get back down to our roots. We need to get more in touch with our ancestors and make the effort. African Yoruba medicine deals with the elimination of the root source of the problem. All illness is the result of an imbalance of the physical, mental, and spiritual aspects of the body. So when a Yoruba healer comes, they cure the person of the symptoms and gets rid of the negative energies. But unless the person themselves makes an effort of addressing the cause of the disease, which is the food intake and things like that, the sickness will come right back. So you can get a healer, and if you're not listening to your body, then your sickness is going to come back. So they can only do so much. You can only do so much. Like if you tell a kid, look, don't go out. It's like 20 below out there, and you're going outside with no shoes on, you're going to get sick. And then they get sick, and you can nurse them back to health, but they keep doing the same thing. The same thing's going to happen. There will people who say you keep shopping at the same store, you're going to get the same product. And that's true. So if you want to be different, be healthier, the ancestors have a wealth of information for us if we just listen. And and we're not listening, and it's very sad. Absolutely sad. So that's what I have to talk about today. Again, stay tuned for the new website. When that comes out, I will definitely be announcing that on the show. But in the meantime, you can always visit magic with a K and medicine.blogspot.com. And on there, since it's a little bit of a mess, but you can also book me for spiritual consultations. I'll give you consultations. I do quite often, where if you can have some questions about your path or any questions related to hoodoo, African ancestry, or just your spiritual walk, anything. I was talking a couple of days ago with someone about astral projection. They had a lot of questions about that. I also do spiritual messages as well. I do 15 minutes. I do 45 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry, 15 and 30 minutes. And that's per minute. And they're reasonable prices because right now we're in a pandemic and a lot of people are short on money. So thank you for listening. Check me out on all my social media. That's also on the website. And in the meantime, honor and gratitude to the ancestors, and have a great day.
Thank you for listening to It's All Good, Magic, Mysticism, and Earth Medicine. Visit us anytime at www.magicandmedicine.com.